The S&P up over 7% this month, tracking for its best June since 1955. Bob Pisani at the New York Stock Exchange breaking down some of this month's big winners. Bobby.
Hello, Scotty. Good to see you. You know, Art Cashin famously said 2 months ago that the market was one tweet away from a new high and also one tweet away from a 10% correction. You know, he was right on both counts. Look at what happened in May. We were down about 8% in May on trade worries. And now we're up about 8% in June since the bottom on euphoria over central banks, but particularly on renewed hopes for a positive outcome on trade and tariff talks with China. Now, you can see this with the best performers. Most are trade related. So if you look at industrials and metal names and consumer names, U.S. Steel, Whirlpool, Deere, Freeport-McMoran, Textron, all up double digits in June. And tech trade-related names, semiconductors in particular, they're the most trade-sensitive group, many of them getting the largest chunk of their revenues from China. We also had Apple also had a big rally in June overall. Finally, casino operator Wynn also up 14%. No surprise there. 75% of their revenues come from Macau in China. What we need now is a little more participation from some other groups. The transports, for example, the railroads like Union Pacific, Norfolk Southern, they kind of set out most of the rally in June, as did some of the big healthcare names like Bristol Myers and Lilly, basically flat. Back to you, Scott.
All right, Bob, thanks. That's Bob Pisani down at the Stock Exchange. So, given all these moves, we thought it was a perfect time to play our favorite game, Trade It or Fade It.
Love this game.
All right, we're going to kick it off with you, Guy.
Don't we have the Trade It or Fade It? We usually run that.
Is that what you normally do? Well, we have animation.
Yeah,
there's often
usually
is,
a graphic.
I think that was very animated,
maybe
Guy.
They spent
so
all
maybe
their
that's
time
enough.
on Dan's graphic.
I feel like that's what
I just want to know one thing. If I say MAGA, will it come up?
Apparently not.
It's not.
Pretty low.
Oh, well, at least we had sound.
I would never do that again.
You have graphic envy.
I do have graphic envy. We should make a bumper sticker.
Let's get to the point.
I'm going to answer right off the bat. Fade it. Now, here comes the hate tweets because if you ever say anything bad about, God forbid.
What's your email?
But
Yes.
it's on the website, on the CNBC website. Oh, come on. But, you know, Apple wrote a letter to Mr. Lighthizer saying, you know what, these tariffs are not good for us. And now they're talking about maybe moving 15 to 30% of their production out of China. I don't think the market's taking seriously enough the potential ramifications for this U.S.-China trade deal or non-deal on the back of Apple. So at 198 or so, I would say fade it here, Scott.
It's funny. I would trade it because I think the market, that's all they're doing. I think the market is looking at Apple and they're saying they are the poster child for trade war outside of being a semiconductor.
In June? Something like that?
Sure, because you've had this environment where all the trade war dynamics have lightened up. Look at the casino stocks. Look at all the stocks that Bob talked about. But Apple, to me, is a stock that if this is an environment where Coke and Pepsi and McDonald's and Starbucks and all these names can go higher, Apple with a capital markets dynamic, a large dividend yield, a massive buyback program, a blended multiple on the services side that no one really knows, frankly, what to do with this. This is a safe bet in a difficult environment.
Well, they know what to do with it because they sold it down 45% from the highs when services was a big part of the story last year. The bigger problem right now is not, this concern about what they can do or not do with capital markets because rates and they could buy back their stock. It's the fact that iPhone's not growing anymore, and that's 2/3 of their sales, and that is the installed base.
We've known that for a year and a half.
I understand, but if you're telling me that services, though, is this great growth engine, if you have the underlying aspect, the hardware not growing, that will impact it overall. And we don't have growth rates on this higher margin business. That's the sort of thing that you're going to assign a massive multiple like we do in other parts of the service area or in the SaaS market.
You're questioning growth. It's a company where people already know what's going on in terms of the growth of their core product. We know that there's a blended multiple. You could put a 25 multiple on this company by being at around 14, 15 times on hardware and be at 35 times on services. And you could have a company that with the capital markets dynamic, what should scare you about this stock in the short to medium term when all this other stuff could be hanging overhead? If you think that China's priced in, and I do.
You have a trade.
Well, listen,
go quick
I think the rally this month is China positivity about China being priced in. That's what concerns me about it. So I'm going to fade it because I think a lot of good things have been priced in. Wow. In the long run, I'm more with Dan, so I will double fade it.
Three faders.
Do we have a graphic for that?
What a surprise. No. I could probably guess the rest of this based upon these three guys on the desk. I could probably tell you exactly what it's going to be.
So you're
wrong, RONG.
We'll see.
Timmy, you're up. U.S. Steel. Trade it or fade it?
I'm going to trade it. And again, this is a company that's had a lot of pressure for trade war dynamics, for tariff dynamics, for flat rolled prices. They gave a second quarter guide on EBITDA, which wasn't terribly good. What do you think's in the price in this company? The biggest issue for this company is their balance sheet, and in terms of how aggressive they're going to be on CapEx. If they can show some moderation there, I actually think the stock can do fine in an environment where everything we've just said is manufacturing's not in a great place. Everybody knows that. This stock knows that.
So you thought he thinks he knows what I'm going to say, but I'm going to also say, Scott, trade it, run the graphic. Thank you. And the reason why is this. Inflation is coming, Kimosabe. It's right around the corner, and it's going to manifest itself not only in precious metal prices, but in base metal prices, specifically steel. At $12.5, $13, this is trading like it's going out of business, which it's not. By the way, this was a $43 stock March of last year when President Trump started talking about these things. Guys, now steel's supposed to be in the best environment ever.
EPS looks like it's going out of business. They printed north of $5 last year. They're expected to do a little over $1 this year.
Not going out of business.
It's a cyclical. That's a cyclical. They're not going out of business.
Okay,
I mean,
well,
everybody knows steel companies are cyclical.
Okay.
I mean,
But we're at
they're only cyclical, Tim, because we have
fantastic.
these tariffs that he actually placed on our allies for steel. Okay, so this is the sort of thing that's actually slowing.
no, it was idiotic. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the steel
Okay.
tariffs. Look at what George Bush did. I mean, and it went down 43%. It went down 65% on these tariffs. Did nothing for steel companies but ruin them.
All right. Next up, Bear Suit BK.
Yeah, you know,
Deer.
I am
Deer.
sounding a bit
Traded it?
bearish here. I mean,
think?
yeah, just a bit. But you know what? I'm going to stick with it and fade it. And it's not so much that I don't like Deer. In fact, I think there's probably a chance to buy this on a dip. But look at the run this thing has had. I mean, it has just been like a scalded dog taking off here.
Whoa.
That's not something that BK wants to buy at the highs. BK wants to sell it. Therefore, you fade it.
Do you know in January of 2018 where John Deere, the stock was trading, Scott? Maybe you should look at the price up there. You say it was probably about 170, guy, and you'd be right. And now, where is it now? Probably about 170. Valuation is not the concern, but you have a major BK double top in John Deere. I'm with BK.
There you
Fade
go.
that
That's how to play the game.
Well, I got to tell you, at the risk of jumping on the bear guys, there's also
It's tough being one bull on the desk tonight.
Look, my back is breaking right now from the burden I'm carrying for the rest of America right now. But here's the problem: my John Deere lawn tractor broke down 2 weeks ago. I'm not happy with John Deere. Just to be clear, it's in the shop. My lawn is now 2 weeks without getting cut. The neighbors are complaining. What can I tell you? So I'm fading it.
Last one, Danny. Win. Fade it or fade it?
I think you trade this one, and let me tell you why.
Wow. Hold on.
I think you trade this one, and let me tell you why. Okay, this stock last year was trading about $200. It got cut in half when there was serious worries about Asia slowing, about Chinese economy slowing here. So the stock was up. What? It was trading almost $150 just about 6 months ago or something like that. It went all the way back down to 100. I think it's finding a little floor here. When they reported in early May, Macau revenues were down 15%. Bob Pisani already told us about 2/3 of their sales come from Macau. I think Macau's trying to find a little bit of a bottom here. I think Chinese equities in general have acted okay. I think they're getting some support here. And I think this is a way that U.S. investors might try to play some sort of reflation trade in China.
Yeah, he said trade it.
Yeah.
It. No one has a.
Well, I say fade.
Yeah.
I think to me this is the same trade as
I didn't
Apple.
mean to catch you mid.
We give him a hug.
but, you know.
No, I mean, I meant to come over and give him just a hug, just to hug it out, because I mean that
Fade
was.
it. Yeah, there you
Well,
go.
we usually wait till the break to go full.
Well,
candy,
we
but,
do.
know.
That's how we
But
roll.
Tim, are you fading it or trading it?
I already said I was trading. I'm
Hold on,
fading.
the
I
guy's
was
going to
fading.
choke. Hold on.
Oh.